Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the 2020 Ram 1500 Rebel EcoDiesel. My goal for this video is to give you guys a complete point of view walkthrough of the entire truck. We'll talk about all of the unique features throughout the interior as well as exterior. We'll dive into the engine, take it for a drive, talk about pricing, get some sound clips, and more. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop on in, start her up, and let her run. The 2020 Ram Rebel is offered with a choice between 6 different monotone paint options and 5 different two-tone options. This example is finished in Diamond Black Crystal Pearl Coat. As far as the interior, the Rebel comes standard with a combination of synthetic leather and cloth upholstery. If equipped, the cloth is actually embossed with the tread pattern of the tires, which is a unique Rebel feature and is quite cool in person. However, this truck is pretty much fully loaded, and as you can see, it has the leather upholstery, which doesn't have the tread pattern embossed in it, but it does have Rebel logos stitched on the inside bolsters of the front seats. The seats are perforated, there's plenty of accent stitching. This one has the all-black interior, but as a no-cost option, you can get a black interior with a ton of ruby red accent detailing, which is also quite neat. So how much does all of this cost? Well, the Rebel is available in a few different body, bed, and drivetrain configurations, but for what you see here, a 4-wheel drive crew cab with the 5'7" bed, you're looking at a starting price of $49,685, and that includes a destination charge of $1,695. However, this truck, believe it or not, has over $21,000 of optional extras. So taking that into consideration, including destination, total MSRP for what you see here is just north of $71,000. There's no denying the fact that $71,000 is a lot of money for a half-ton pickup. This truck has a lot going on, so I'll let you guys be the judge on whether you think it's worth it or not. But you also got to take into consideration just how much the truck market has changed in the last 10-15 years or so. So much more of a priority is being placed on comfort and road manners and technology that trucks in general have become more of a multi-purpose vehicle. Like, you've got a lot more flexibility than you would in a traditional SUV, and you don't have to worry about, sacrificing on the good stuff if you want the latest and greatest of features. Now, you can still buy basic, more utilitarian trucks, but when you start getting into the upper trim levels and really adding that technology, it hikes the price up quick. So now let's fire it up. A smart key entry system is one of the optional features equipped on this example, but push button ignition is a standard feature. All you have to do is make sure you have the key fob within the interior, then just put your foot on the brake and hit the dash mounted button to go. Before I dive into talking about the powertrain, let's head out back for a moment and talk about some of the cool features with the bed. The Rebel is available in 2 body styles: crew cab like you see here, and quad cab, which is still a 4-door, but the rear doors are a little shorter. Specifically with the crew cab, you have a choice between a 5'7" bed as shown here, or a longer 6'4" bed. A couple of the optional features back here that I really like are the Ram boxes and the new multifunction tailgate. The Ram boxes are large, drainable cargo holds on either side of the bed. They unlock electrically by just the touch of a button, but they can also be locked with a key for added security. What's really nice about these is that you can use them for tailgating, fill them up with drinks and ice, or use them for just general purpose use and tool storage. The only downside to the Ram boxes is that they do stick into the bed a little bit, so you lose a little bit of space there, but I think it's worth it for the added practicality. Plus, you have LED illumination in both sides so you can easily see at night, and the driver's side Ram box has a power outlet. Unlike GMC's new multi-pro tailgate on the Sierra, which opens up a whole bunch of different ways, Ram's new multi-function tailgate only opens up 2 different ways. Cosmetically, the 2 things that are different with this tailgate is that you have a seam running down because it's like a 60-40 split, and instead of having the Ram lettering across the tailgate, you just have the Ram's Head badge. There's 2 different handles up in here. The one up top opens the tailgate like normal. It's electrically actuated, and there's a soft opening feature so it doesn't come crashing down. The other handle is right here for the multifunction portion. So it swings out, locks itself in place, and there's another handle to bring out the right side, and that also locks itself in place. It basically just gets the tailgate out of the way so it's a little easier to reach into the bed. Of course, a spray-in bed liner is optional. There's plenty of cargo hooks, including adjustable ones up top. There's lots of illumination, including LED lights in the bed, as well as additional cargo lamps on either side of the third brake light. This one also has the adjustable cargo organizer, so if you had smaller things that you didn't want flying around in the bed, you can adjust it accordingly and keep everything nice and secure. And even though you don't have any power outlets in the bed itself, remember there's one in the driver's side Ram box. There is an available assist step that pops out from underneath the bumper to make getting into the bed a little easier, but unfortunately is not available with the multifunction tailgate. Now let's go ahead and pop the hood and talk about the powertrain. For 2020, the previously optional 3-liter turbo diesel V6 makes an appearance once again in the 1500 lineup. However, it's a thoroughly redesigned 3rd generation engine that sees significant changes to not only improve NVH levels, but performance, fuel economy, and general reliability. It now produces 260 horsepower at 3,600 RPM and a whopping 480 pound-feet of torque at 1,600 RPM. The engine features chain-driven double overhead camshafts with 4 valves per cylinder and a 60-degree angle between the cylinder banks. The block is cast iron while the heads are aluminum. The crankshaft and connecting rods are made of forged steel while the pistons are aluminum. It now produces 260 horsepower at 3,600 RPM and a whopping 480 pound-feet of torque at 1,600 RPM. The maximum engine speed is 5,800 RPM, and fuel is delivered by high-pressure common rail fuel injection with a compression ratio of 16:1. The EcoDiesel is available across the entire 1500 lineup, from the Tradesman all the way up to the fully loaded Limited. It's not a cheap option at $4,995, but depending on how you plan on using your truck, it might be an enticing option, especially if fuel economy is an important factor. The EcoDiesel has quite a lot of grunt. Wow, it actually chirped the tires. 260 horsepower doesn't sound like a lot, but it's got a massive 480 pound-feet of torque. If we compare that to the 5.7 liter Hemi V8, which makes 395 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque, they almost balance each other out. I don't know what the official 0 to 60 times are between the 2 different engines, but from what I remember when I drove the 2019 Ram 1500 with the Hemi, they don't feel all that different. Like, there's just a little bit of lag with the diesel, like when you first start out, but once that turbo kicks in, you really take off. The torque is very strong. You feel that more than anything, and like any diesel, all of that power is developed like really low in the rev range, so you don't have a very high max RPM. I think it's like just over 5,000 or something. But as far as like day-to-day driving and stuff, I don't notice a huge acceleration difference between the diesel and the Hemi. I think they feel very comparable. The nice thing about the diesel, with having all of that torque and having all of that torque so low, is that it does benefit towing capability. So overall, the Hemi does tow a little bit more, but it's only a difference of like a couple 100 pounds or so. But I think the diesel overall is a really sweet package when you take into consideration the towing ability and the fuel economy. I mean, the fact that it gets 10 miles more per gallon on the highway compared to the Hemi is just fantastic. From a sound perspective, you can hear a little bit that it's a diesel. But honestly, it's not super noticeable. They've done a really good job at trying to keep NVH levels down. That's noise, vibrations, and harshness. So it doesn't have like a loud racket or chatter. Like, you hear a little bit of the characteristic diesel sound, but you know, it's not as much as like a Duramax or a Cummins or something like that. It honestly just has like a normal V6 sound with a little bit more growl to it. The thing that you notice most within the cabin is not chatter, but it's turbo whistle, which is pretty cool. So like going up a hill, it's and then I like it. It's different. You know, I'm a V8 guy through and through. I love the sound of the Hemi and, you know, V8s in general. This has the dual exhaust system out back that's integrated into the bumper, which, you know, aesthetically I really like. It's different. As far as fuel economy, the Rebel EcoDiesel is rated between 22 miles per gallon in the city and 32 miles per gallon on the highway, which is just fantastic for a full-size pickup, especially when comparing against the 5.7-liter Hemi V8, which, if memory serves me correct, is 17 miles per gallon in the city and 22 miles per gallon on the highway. A 23-gallon tank comes standard, but you can also opt for a 33-gallon extended range tank. What's also pretty nice is that they put the diesel exhaust fluid filler cap right next to the fuel filler, so everything is really easy to access. Power is harnessed by an electronically controlled ZF 8HP75 8-speed automatic transmission. It's conveniently accessed through a rotary controller on the dash. Just twist it to the right to make the appropriate selection. The four-wheel drive controls, if so equipped, because four-wheel drive is technically an option on the Rebel, the controls are located right here. Unlike some other Ram models, there is not a full-time four-wheel drive auto system. It's just 4 high, 4 low, and two-wheel drive. One of the features included on the Rebel is an electronic locking rear differential. The axle lock button is located right beneath the transmission dial. The Rebel's closest competitors include the Tundra TRD Pro, the Sierra AT4, and the Silverado Trail Boss. It's not as hardcore of an off-roader as the F-150 Raptor, but compared to a regular Ram 1500, the Rebel does have a handful of significant advantages to improve its off-road performance. Aside from the electronic locking rear differential, which comes standard with 392 gears, you also have a factory lift, 33-inch Goodyear Wrangler Duratec tires, and unique bodywork to help improve approach and breakover angles. Of course, not having the side assist steps would improve the breakover angles as well, but it's an optional feature, and of course it does make it easier to get into the truck. Previously, the Rebel was only offered in crew cab form with the Ram 1500's optional 4-corner air suspension. For 2020 though, you also have the option of a quad cab and a traditional coil sprung suspension if you wanted to save a bit of money. That being said, the standard suspension setup consists of double wishbones in front and a 5-link setup in the rear, with twin-tube shock absorbers and progressive rate coil springs at each corner. If you opt for the 4-corner air suspension, you get a lot of extra benefits. For starters, the air suspension is self-leveling, so it's going to always try to keep the truck as level as possible, especially when carrying a heavy payload or towing something. That being said, payload for this truck is 2,300 pounds, while towing with the diesel is 12,560 pounds, which is pretty impressive. The air suspension can also be raised or lowered by just toggling a little switch in the bottom portion of the center console. You can raise it up for better ground clearance when off-roading, or lower it down to improve ingress and egress. Also, when the truck reaches a certain speed, like going on the highway, it'll hunker down to improve aerodynamic efficiency and overall fuel economy. The Rebel features its own unique set of 18 by 8-inch 6-spoke wheels. This truck with the black appearance package has pretty much blacked out everything from the grille to the emblems to the headlamps and trim and more. Of course, the wheels are also black. The tires, once again, are Goodyear Wrangler Duratrax LT 275/70 R18 for 33 inches in diameter. The Ram 1500 also features some massive brakes. You have 4-wheel internally ventilated discs that measure 14.9 by 1.2 inches in front with twin piston calipers, and 14.8 by 0.87 inches in the rear with single piston calipers. Having driven both the coil-sprung suspension and the air suspension, I can confidently say that there's a pretty big difference between the two and how the Ram hits the road. With the air suspension, I feel like it rides a lot better. The suspension soaks up the bumps a bit more. The roads around me are definitely not the best, as I've talked about in previous videos, but even over some of the rougher patches, it stays pretty well composed. And overall, this thing is really, really quiet. Like, I think the new tires they have on it, because I think the previous Rebel had Toyo tires, these are a bit quieter. You still notice a little bit of road hum, more so at lower speeds, but up at normal speeds and highway speeds, you don't really notice much, if anything. But back to the handling, the way this thing drives, it doesn't feel like a big truck, and that's a very common thing in the truck market nowadays. As like I was talking about earlier, road manners are put on more of a priority. So the steering is very smooth. It's electrically assisted. Body roll is kept in check pretty good. It honestly drives like just any old full-size SUV. In my opinion, the new Rams offer the nicest interior in the full-size truck segment, especially when you start getting upwards of the Laramie Longhorn and the Limited. They are downright luxurious. But I'll be honest, the Rebel, with the upgraded packages that add the leather upholstery and the big tablet screen in the middle, they are very, very nice. The build quality is phenomenal. There's lots of soft touch materials. You've got this faux diamond plate carbon fiber-like trim, satin gold detailing, accent stitching. It's beautiful. The front seats offer a lot of padding and good overall support, especially in the lower back region. They're fully powered and include 4-way power lumbar for both the driver and passenger. This one also has the optional heated front seats and heated steering wheel. The seatbelts are adjustable, as are the headrests, but the headrests not only go up and down, they tilt forward as well. As far as safety, there's 6 airbags located throughout the interior, and like most vehicles nowadays, there's a plethora of driver assistance technologies available, such as adaptive cruise control with stop and go. The interior is very quiet. You really can't tell that you're driving a diesel. There's turbo noises and a little bit of diesel sounds here and there, but I actually think it sounds really good, so definitely not a complaint from me. But everything is very well insulated. There's no rattles, no creaks, no weird sounds. The doors close with a nice soft thud. You have acoustic laminated front glass. It's just a really nice environment to be in. Like I was saying, build quality is phenomenal. You have a soft padded dash with accent stitching, high gloss black trim, everything just looks really nice. And you just cannot ignore how awesome this 12-inch display is. The steering wheel is wrapped in leather with perforated portions across the sides, and you have a ton of multifunction controls. This one over here controls the digital driver information system in the middle. There's tons of information, pretty much like a lot of FCA products nowadays, but very, very easy to use. Cruise control, adaptive cruise, hands-free telephone and voice commands, as well as a gear limiter for the transmission. So if you only wanted it to use gears 1 through 4, for example, that's how you would control that. The instrument cluster is really nice, easy to see, nice graphics. The Rebel logo illuminates at night, which is pretty cool. And if this thing focuses, there we go. There's a little gauge right there to show the percentage of diesel exhaust fluid left, which I really like that. In my Sierra, you have to go through the driver information system unless it alerts you that you're low. I like having a little analog gauge. I'll be honest, I am definitely more of an old school guy when it comes to technology. More times than not, I think less is more, because technology nowadays can really make or break a vehicle. Like, manufacturers have to really be on their A game, because outdated technology and stuff that's not intuitive can really mess up the driving experience. And I'll be honest, they absolutely nailed this 12-inch display out of the park. This is phenomenal. This is what I was talking about in my Sierra 2500 review that I uploaded a little while back. It is so well integrated into this. I mean, it just flows fantastic, and it works just like any other Uconnect system. So, you know, the base RAM setup is a little 5-inch display. Then you got the 8.4, the latest generation of that either has navigation or it does not. And then you have this one, which obviously comes with navigation, but it works the exact same. You've got all of the shortcut buttons down below here: controls, climate, apps, navigation, telephone, backup camera. I mean, it's so easy to use. It's unbelievable. This just ruined all other trucks for me. I love it so much. Even though you can operate the entire climate system from the screen, I really like how they left a bank of hard buttons on either side for just quick and simple adjustment. Down below, you have 2 rotary knobs, and in the very bottom, the available trailer brake controller would be located right there, and you have a handful of rubber-lined toggle switches, so that feels nice. You've got the air suspension, traction control, tow haul mode, and the deactivation of your front and rear parking sensors. At the very bottom, you have various USB media inputs and an aux port. Of course, the new system is packed with smartphone integration technologies like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. There's also pretty much every media option you could ask for, including streaming services. When it comes to audio systems, there's a 9-speaker system available for the Rebel. I think it's an Alpine system that makes like 500 some odd watts. But this one, with the upgraded infotainment system, actually has a 19-speaker 900-watt Harman Kardon system, which, to say the least, is awesome. One thing that's really important in today's truck market is the maximization of interior space, not just for people, but cargo as well. Anything that can be done to improve the versatility, functionality, and overall ergonomics of the interior only helps out, especially if it's a working truck that's constantly on the job. Now, Ram offers a tremendous amount of interior space, and in my opinion, one of the coolest center console designs I've seen in quite some time. There's a lot of adjustability and versatility with this console. So, if we open up the top here, we have a storage tray and a power outlet. But it's a 2-tier design, so open up the bottom, and we get access to the giant well beneath. Now, this right here can be slid back and forth. Just press this button, you can bring it all the way back to open up this section, you can put it in the middle, or all the way back up front. So, chain storage, cup holders, there's places to set smartphones and pass-throughs for cables. There's a power outlet down there, USB plugs there, And at the very back, in the bottom of the console, there's a cargo divider that actually has the lineage of Ram trucks embossed on it. FCA in general loves putting Easter eggs in their vehicles nowadays, and I love it. It's like an Easter egg hunt. But on the underside of the console here, you got a protractor, you got conversion tables, the Pythagorean theorem. It's just very fun. And on top of the console, you've got the Ram logo embossed. From the passenger side, you have a 2-tier glove box system. The lower one is locking, and the lid is damped. It offers a pretty decent amount of space. But you also have this one up here. Just press the button, and the door slides open. There's plenty of storage across the door panels with water bottle holders in the very bottom. There's a tray up top with a 12-volt power outlet, and flanking either side of the center console, you have map pockets. The whole interior is filled with LED lighting and ambient accent lighting. Up in the very top, you have sunglass storage, an auto-dimming rearview mirror, 3-position garage home link, as well as SOS emergency roadside services. If equipped, the power moonroof controls will be up here, as well as the power sliding rear window. Ram offers one of, if not the most accommodating rear seats in the full-size truck segment. In fact, certain models are still offered with the mega cab option if you need just a ridiculous amount of rear seat space. But in the standard configuration, like you see here, the floor is completely flat. There's tons of head and leg room, and there's enough side-to-side space to fit 3 full-size adults very comfortably. Like I was saying earlier, a huge priority was placed on maximizing interior storage, and that's very apparent up front. There's also a lot of storage in the rear seat as well, especially across the door panels, where you have that big lower section, a bottle holder, a pocket up top. There's also seat back storage pockets, and this one's equipped with the floor-mounted storage bins. If equipped, there's a storage bin on either side. The center section is removable, so you can easily spray it out and wash it. And I actually just noticed something else that was pretty cool. There are 2 rulers built in. On this edge, you have one that's measured in centimeters, while the one on the back is measured in inches. The bottom cushion of the seat is split 60-40, and you can flip them up like so to open up the rear seat if you wanted to stow some large items back here, but there's also quite a bit of space underneath the rear seat with this flip-out cargo divider that helps keep everything that you have right there nice and secure so it doesn't fly throughout the cabin. Higher Ram trim levels also have a reclining rear seat. The Rebel does not have it, unfortunately, but the Laramie that I tested out a while back did. The bottom cushion slides forward, the backrest reclines, so you can kick back and relax on a long trip. There's a fold-down armrest with 2 cup holders and 3 headrests. The outer 2 are adjustable, and if you press that button right there, the headrest will fold for better visibility. Now let's go ahead and hop in the back seat and get a feel for everything. Well, I can tell you the back seat is very comfortable. Lots of padding, good lower back support, and again, just a tremendous amount of space. I have the camera at my line of sight, so you can kind of get a feel for the visibility. Not bad at all. The console has 2 cup holders up top. There's a little bit of storage below, 2 USB ports, of course, adjustable air vents, and an AC household outlet. All right, everyone, that's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2020 Ram 1500 Rebel EcoDiesel. Be sure to stay tuned next time, leave a like and subscribe today because there's a lot more where that came from. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.